Welcome to the start of ICD-10 coding. We're going to start off with Chapter 1. Just a couple of things I want to just go over with to start is that I will be lecturing, but I will not cover every slide of the PowerPoints. I am going to cover key points, but it is very crucial for you to read through the chapter and read through every PowerPoint slide. I am going to touch base on what I feel you need to focus on. And again, you really do need to read every chapter and again, the PowerPoint. Okay, every PowerPoint that I have in lecture is going to have a disclaimer, so make sure you read through that. Let's just start off. What is ICD-10? Couple different things. It's a classification system where also we have CPT. That is a nomenclature system. With ICD-10, we are dealing with diagnosis codes. These diagnosis codes are utilized in a physician office. They are utilized in a hospital. So all over they're utilized. So a diagnosis code, again, is going to be in different healthcare facilities. Now that is for the CM part. PCS we'll get in a little bit later going through the course. Okay, so what does a coding professional need to understand? They need to know the principles behind our classification system because, again, you as a coder, you need to learn how to use these codes to their best ability and the best clarification. Okay, so again, we'll get into Coding Clinic later on. It's a great resource. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it right now, but we will hit it later down the road. So with the Coding Clinic, there's different things that different companies or associations that develop the Coding Clinic. Okay, development of ICD-10. So this was, keep in mind here, released by the World Health Organization in 1993. They developed it for the United States. It was not implemented until 2015. So all modifications to ICD-10 need to, again, conform to the WHO conventions for ICD. So it's a public domain, so anybody, again, in the world can use it. So a couple of different things you may find interesting is that Canada, Australia, a few of these countries used ICD-10 probably for 10 years before the United States jumped on board. Okay, so the format. It is divided into the tabular list and the alpha index. So what I want you to do right now is go ahead and look at your book, okay? And you want to label it. You're going to see the first part, which is called Volume 2. That's your alpha index, okay? This is, again, this is where we look up the diagnosis code. And then we double check them in the tabular list. So if you want to tab that or look at it in your book, pause the video and go ahead and check it out. So your tabular list is alphanumeric codes, and they're divided into chapters based on the body system. And then the index, again, the same thing. That's how we look them up to go to our tabular. Okay, so main classification diseases. We have 21 chapters. Now these chapters will not match up with your coding handbook that you will utilize. So when I talk about it, so when you start coding, you're going to use that CM book that has all your diagnosis in, and then you're going to use your coding handbook to, again, take codes from your coding book. And again, if there's a question, you're going to put the answers into your handbook. So you're going to be consistently using both books here as we move along. Half the chapters here are devoted to conditions that affect a specific body system, and then the rest are etiology. So you're going to do Z codes that begin with the letter Z. These are factors that influence health status, contact with health services. You have V, W, X, Y codes. These are external circumstances responsible for injuries. So, good example, somebody goes into a hot air balloon and that hot air balloon crashes. There is a Y code for that. And the reason they do that is, again, it's all about statistics research. So this way, at the end of the year, they can query all these hospitals and say, hey, in the past year, there was 15 people that died from crashing in a hot air balloon. Okay, so again, when we get into these, you will see some crazy code for these Y codes. Okay, we also have disease and injuries. These codes, again, keep in mind, they're in alphanumeric order. All the codes that you see listed here will begin with a alpha, and then again end with a numeric number. So references from your alpha index to the tabular list are by code number, not by page number. So again, all the A codes are first in your tabular, then B, C, so on. Code structure. Okay, so we're starting with all codes with an alphabetical character. So these basic code structure consist of 3 characters. So you're going to start off here, let's just say I-10. Okay, so again, we have the letter, and we have numbers. So I-10, and then you're going to have a decimal point. And some of these codes may be done at 3, but some may go all the way up to 7. So again, a lot of these do have 7 characters. Some only have 6, some have 5. This is why we need to use the tabular section to verify if this code has more than 3 characters. Okay, so we're going to start off here with sections. Section is 3 character categories. Okay, and then our categories are 3 character code numbers. And then subcategories would be 4 character code numbers. 5th, 6th, and 7th are subclassifications. So if you look into your tabular, you will see groups of 3 character categories. You will see code numbers. You will see 4 character code numbers and subclassifications. So what you're going to do now is pause, get your book, and we're going to go over a few of these. Okay, so what I want you to do in the tabular, again, your tabular is the second part of the book. I want you to look for code. We're going to go with code J96. Again, you have to go to the back part of the book. This is the tabular section, and look for this code. Pause the tape until you get there, and then again, okay, so now we're at J96. If you look right above it, it says other diseases of the respiratory system, and that gives you sections. It gives me sections J96 through J99. Okay, so my categories, these are 3 character code numbers. So my first category is going to be J96, and it's respiratory failure not elsewhere classified. That's my category. Another category would be J98 in this section, other respiratory disorders. Okay, now my subcategories. Let's go back to J96. So with J96.0, this is a subcategory. It's 4 characters, and it states acute respiratory failure. One thing to keep in mind, this is not a complete code because we can code it all the way out to J96.00. That would be, again, here we're starting with the 5th, 6th, 7th classification. So my J96.00 is a complete code. Okay, so you will see this through the whole back part, tabular part of the book. Okay, code structures. So again, characters for categories, subcategories, and codes may either be letter or a number. All categories have 3 characters. A 3 character category that has no further subdivision is equivalent to a code. So again, like I said, if there is no more digits after those 3 letters, then that's a complete code. You always have to code out something until you can't code it any longer. Placeholders. Okay, we'll get into these later on more detailed, but these ICD-10 uses the letter X as a placeholder in characters in certain codes. So we use these in poisoning codes. Okay, So let's go ahead, pause it, and I want you to go to T36. Okay, hopefully everybody's at T36. Again, this is going to be in the tabular section. So with this, let's look at T36.0. Okay, so what they're telling you is that we have an X. Okay, and then you'll see a 1. So you have T36.0x1. And with that little plus 7th character, that means we need another digit. So there should be like a gray box or some type of color box right under the category T36. That is telling us we need another digit. So again, we'll get more into the placeholders as we go further into the semester. Your alpha index, it consists of disease, injuries, external causes, neoplasm tables, and the table of drug and chemicals. I highly advise for you to go in there, find each of these, find the index of disease and injuries, which is the beginning. External causes, again, your external causes is probably going to be a different color. You also have a neoplasm table, which is going to be a different color. And table of drug and chemicals. Just put little tabs on these. That way it's easier to find them. And these are all in the alpha section. So they're in the first part of the book. So again, we have main terms, subterms, and more specific subterms. Okay, so with this, how do we look things up? These are just different words that we would use. We'll get more into those as we go on. A clear understanding of the format of your alpha index is it's a prerequisite for accurate coding. So again, you need to understand the indentation of the entries is very important. Let's go to the next one here. We have main terms. Main terms are set flush with the left-hand margin. Again, we're in the alpha. Subterms are in one standard space or standard indentation. And then you have more specific subterms. They're indented further or farther and farther and farther right to, as needed. So if there's a dash at the end of that entry, that means we need more characters. So you would go to the tabular section and get those. You have carryover lines. This is a great example out of your book. So make sure you read your book for these. Okay, and again, with the rules, we have letter by letter. That's how we use it. Single spaces, again, we ignore those. We ignore hyphens. Connecting words with, in, due to, associated with are to express the relationship between that main term and subterm. So again, we'll start talking about them as we go on. And then our index table. Okay, so again, the main body of the index or alpha index uses a table for systematic arrangement of subterms under the main entry neoplasm. That is for neoplasms. Tables, again, from complex conditions of subterms. Hopefully this is a good little start to Intro to Coding. Read through chapter 1. We have a lot more to go through. I will be going through each chapter, trying to give you some different examples. And again, go through the PowerPoint, read through the chapter, highlight and make notes.